Now let's go through this upper and lower bound example together. I have a group of basketball players that is 180 centimeter, okay, 180 centimeter. But this value over here has been correct to the nearest 10 centimeter, okay. Now what does this sentence here mean? Now when we talk about height of a basketball player, all right, naturally they have different heights, okay. Some are maybe taller, but some are maybe shorter a bit, but all of them, right, if you round off their height to the nearest 10 centimeter, they will be 180 centimeter. Okay, that is what this statement is talking about. But over here, I'm interested to know the upper and lower bound of the player's height. So in another word, if I were to change this to a more layman term, I'm interested to know what is the height of my tallest player and what is the height of my shortest player. So for the tallest player, that will be called the upper bound. And for the shortest player, that will be the lower bound. Okay? Now remember, I have a range of height over here, and all of those height will be rounded off to 180. Alright, so if I were to tell my friends or colleague, oh, the average height of my players is 180. But of course, individually, they have different heights. So what's the tallest and what's the shortest height? Okay? Now let's think with me together over here. What do you think will be the smallest number that, okay, or the smallest number over here that can be rounded off to 180? All right, of course, following nearest 10 cm lah. So try to think first. So if you guess the lowest height is 175 centimeter, you are correct. All right, let's take a look. Why is this correct? Okay, now since I would want to round this off or correct to the nearest 10. Nearest 10, which means it's going to be here, right? 5 over here, this will be the nearest centimeter. 7 over here will be the nearest 10 centimeter. And 1 over here will be the nearest 100 centimeter. Since I'm interested to the nearest 10, it's going to be here, right? So what is the lowest height that can be rounded off to 180 cm? So it's going to be 175. Because when we round off, we will just look at the next number. Since the next number is 5, or more than 5 for that matter, it will be rounded off, all right, it will be rounded off to 180 centimeter. Okay? Now what if we choose 174? All right, again, if we were to round this off to the nearest 10 centimeter, will we get 180? Okay, so nearest 10 centimeter is again over here. If we look at the number next to it, since it's not 5 or more than 5, if I were to round this off, that this will be 170 centimeter, which is not the height that is rounded off to, right? So this is not acceptable. Okay? Now what about 176? Okay? Again, 176, if we look over here, indeed, when we round this off, we will get 180, right? But the thing is this the smallest number that can be rounded off to 180? In this case, no, because we have found out that 175 cm is the smallest number that can round off to 180 in nearest 10. Okay? So in another word, I'm saying over here, oh, my shortest player, the height of my shortest player in this basketball group, it's 175 centimeter. All right, let's say it's like that first, huh? Okay? All right. Since we already found what's the lower bound, which is 175, let's take a look at the upper bound now. Okay? Let's take a look at the upper bound now, okay? Now, what do you think is the tallest height, all right, of my player over here, all right, that can be rounded off to 184. Okay, now if you have guessed 184 cm, let's see what happened first. All right, let's see what happened. Okay, 184 cm. So again, if I were to round off this number to the nearest 10, okay, and true enough, when I round this off, this will be 180, right? Okay, but hold on first, all right, hold on first, huh? But if I have this, let's just say 185, okay, if I were to round this off to the nearest 10, I will get 190, which is not 180, right? So we know that this is out, okay? But the thing is this the biggest number now? All right. What if I do this? If let's just say I have 184, okay, 0.9, okay, 189.9 centimeter. Okay, so if we take a look over here, again, I'm interested to round this off to the nearest 10, okay? So I'm only looking at the next number, right? I do not care about this 9 over here. And this, of course, will be rounded off to 180 as well, right? But the thing is this the biggest number? What if I do this? 184.99. This will be bigger than this, right? Okay, but it's the same thing. If I were to round this off, this will also be 180 because you're only looking at the next number, correct? For that matter, it doesn't matter how many nines you have. Okay, it doesn't matter how many nines you have at behind. Okay, because we are only rounding this off to the nearest 10 over here. All right, and this will be rounded off to 180. Okay, now what am I trying to say over here? What am I trying to say over here? So what I'm trying to say that the upper bound of my player height, all right, the tallest player, all right, of my basketball player, it can be up to 184 centimeter, 0.999, and so on. This is my upper bound. All right, this is my upper bound over here. Okay. All right. Now let me write this on top over here. So 184.99. Okay, I put 9 and a dot on top, which understood that the 9 is actually repeating. Okay. So that's my upper bound. All right. Okay, let me just write it this way so that I can let you see what's going on later. All right. So over here, my shortest player, it's 175 centimeter, and my tallest player is 108. Can be up to 184.99999 centimeter. Okay, because I'm only interested in the nearest 10. This value will be rounded off to here, right? But again, look at my upper bound over here. Writing it in this form looks a bit funny, all right? Looks a bit funny over here, okay? So how mathematician would prefer to write this? Because since 184.99999, it is so close to the next number, which is, right? It is so close to the next number, which is 185, correct? So mathematicians prefer to write this. But we have already established an understanding here that if I, okay, round this off to the nearest 10, it will not be this, correct? So we know that this 185 is the upper bound, but it is not included. All right, it is not included because the maximum number that the upper bound can go, it's this value over here. Okay? So, how do we represent the player's height range now? All right, how do we represent the range over here? Now, in question, you might see they will mention what's the range of height, or they will ask you to write down, all right, or they will ask you to write down the inequalities, all right, to represent the height of the players. Okay, so since based on this example over here, I know that my height of player can be anywhere from this, right, to this over here. So how do I write this down in terms of inequality? Okay, let's see. So my range over here, all right, my range over here will be an unknown, all right, will be an x, because this can be any value from here to here, right? But let's look at this x value first, all right? This value over here will be definitely bigger, than 175 centimeter. That is my lower bound, correct or not? Will be definitely bigger. But do not forget, ask yourself this question: do you think 175 centimeter is included or not? All right, remember, 175 centimeter, if I round this off to the nearest 10, I will still get 180, right? Which means 175, this number is included. All right. Okay, when you see this, it means x is more than or equals to 175, which means 175 centimeter here is the lowest height of the player. Okay. Now, what about the upper bound part? Okay. Now, our upper bound part, if you look at, let's look at this first. We can write this as like this. It is, okay, x is less or equal to this one over here, right? So it's going to be 184 point order 9s. Correct? That is the maximum height that my player can go. But again, writing this way seems funny, all right? So instead of writing this way, all right, mathematician would like to round this off, all right? Round this off to 185 instead. But like I said before this, we cannot include 185 because if we round this off to the nearest 10, we will get 190 instead. So how do we write this in terms of inequality? So instead of including it, we will write it this way. Okay, like this one, we have already established the understanding. And since we know that we are not including 185, so we will use the sign less than 185. Now, this is how you write the inequality over here of the range of the basketball player's height. Okay? So this x value over here is telling you the range of my basketball players can be ranging from 175 centimeter, right, up to, all right, okay, to 185 centimeter. Okay, remember this is included and this is not included. Okay, means the maximum value that this number can go is 184.99999. But we do not want to write this, we will write this instead. Okay, so I hope with that it will help you to first establish the understanding of upper and lower bound.